Would like to go ahead and call to order this public hearing of the Henderson County Board of Education on this September 19th for the purpose of hearing any comments with regards to the general tax fund levy. So if anybody is here to address this board with regards to any information related to the taxes, I would have ask you to fill out a form and bring it to Robin, and we would afford you 3 minutes to make your comments. If not, we'll just wait until 6 o'clock and call to order the regular meeting. Thank you. We're just going to wait until 6 o'clock. Y'all can still visit if you want to. Obviously, nobody wants to come up here and talk right now.
Because she had such a great elementary teacher. She had such a great elementary teacher.
We have a motion from Mr. Haynes that we adjourn the public hearing meeting. We have a second from Mr. Alvis. All those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
The meeting for the public hearing is adjourned. And at this time, I would like to call to, we good back there, Stephen? I'd like to go ahead and call to order the regular scheduled meeting of the Henderson County Board of Education for September 19th, 2022. First item on the agenda would be a moment of silence and then the Pledge of Allegiance. About a week ago today, Henderson County Schools, as well as community, lost a family member, Mr. Phil Gibson, who had a lot of influence on a lot of students as well as student athletes. So if you would join me in a moment of silence, Phil Gibson and his family, I'd appreciate it. Thank you. This time we will have the Pledge of Allegiance.
Yes, sir. I'd like to ask our Henderson County High School student ambassadors to come up. They're going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen.
Thank you.
I'm going to start staying right here for just a second. Ask grab her. And while we have them up here, Mr. Waller, I'd like to introduce these great leaders and ambassadors for our school system. We have with us tonight Miss Gracie McCormick, Miss Alyssa Shelton, and Miss Alexa Utley. Can you give them a hand, please? Can you get a picture of them? Joe, can you get a picture of you right over here? Let's give a quick picture.
We thank you all for coming to our meeting tonight, what you do for the Henderson County school system, and leading the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you so very much. Next item would be the approval of the agenda. We've received the agenda prior to this meeting. Is there any need to change or ask for any amendments to the agenda? So have a motion, Mr. Alvis?
I move we accept the agenda as presented.
Have a motion, Mr. Alvis, that we accept the agenda as presented. Second from Ms. Williams. All those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye, vote unanimous. We'll go through the agenda as presented. Next item would be students and staff recognition. Dr. Lawson.
I'm very pleased to announce here with us tonight, two-time defending champions, the Henderson County Junior Chef Team, Colonels Cooking Crazy. They took home the Farm to School Junior Chef win again this year at the Kentucky State Fair. Agricultural Commissioner Dr. Ryan Quarles presented them a trophy, and we are so proud that they are here again tonight, winning in 2021 and 2022. Congratulations to Jasmine Satcher, Emery Ligon, Alexia Lane, Yahara, I'm so sorry, how do you pronounce that? Santos Santiago, and their coach, Miss Jenny Johnson. If you all would like to come forward now to receive your Medal of Excellence.
I know Wesley was glad y'all showed up because he had food and he was tearing into it. I heard him growling.
They also brought their dish tonight.
There we go. Got that one. You're welcome. Oops. Don't let me hit you in the head with this now.
Was the dish that you brought tonight what you cooked at the state fair? Yes, ma'am. It was amazing. Thank you.
The team prepared tonight the dish that they won at the state fair for all of our board members.
Thank you.
You get one with Johnson. Absolutely. There we go.
So, Miss Jenny, this is not this team's first time up here. You're always, there's some new characters, but we have the same pursuit of excellence in your program. And I wonder if you talk to us about maybe these students for just a second and tell us a little about this team.
So generally, when we pick teams, it's like we have to beat the bushes to get students to participate because they have to put a lot of hours in. Once a week, they usually meet with me after school, and we work 2 or 3 hours. And then in the summertime, they have to come and work in the summertime to get ready because, you know, the fair is like the second week of school. So we have to do that as well. So these students have got to be very dedicated. And Jasmine Satcher, who is our team captain, she is one that came back. Last year, they won the Southeast region, and they got a full ride. The team got a full ride to Sullivan University. We have 2 others that are right there right now as we speak, but we have one young man that is a senior that's going as soon as school gets out. He's going to start the Jump Start program as well. But they put a lot of time and effort into this. They are so dedicated, and they pursue excellence in all that they do. Well, we're going to have to pick another team because it's not fair for them to keep getting more scholarship when they can't use it. And we want to spread the love and spread the money around and let other kids get it, you know what I'm saying? And so tomorrow, we are going to do a little competition, which cost me quite a bit of money. The money we made from Independence Bank, I spent it at Sureway a while ago, just for them to do a competition to find out who it is going to be on our team for this fall. And so they volunteered after working all day, after staying late, you know, after class. They volunteered to come and judge our students for the next team, that is awesome. And that is excellence. Each one of these students are just really great, excellent, hardworking students. And do you want me to introduce them?
That'd be great.
I'll let you each introduce yourself. If you want to say something about some of the other things, just introduce them. And then pass the mic so each one can say.
Hi, I'm Jasmine Satcher. I'm a junior this year.
I'm Ivy Liggin, and I'm also a junior.
I'm Yadira Santos Santiago, and I'm a sophomore.
I'm Alexia Lane, and I'm a junior.
And they are great to work with, and the dish that they prepared. Team captain, tell them what it was.
Was the Colonel's Crazy Awesome Chicken and Veggie Bowl.
Yes, delicious. Well, we're always so proud of our students and the high level of performance they continue to hold. And we know that we're thankful for our captain, who's back with us, and for you, Miss Jenny, who's the common denominator. And also, I'd like to ask if these students have their parents here or support networks. Please stand. Thank you very much. Thank you all very much.
Tonight, we'd like to recognize the Governor's Schools for the Arts. It's an arts education program of the Kentucky Center for the Performing Arts, comprised of the state's most promising high school sophomores and juniors in 9 different art disciplines. Congratulations to the following students for being selected to be a part of the program: Romani Edwards for drama, Emily Hayes for vocal music, Mabry Rice for musical theater, and Abigail Cartwright for creative writing. If you'd like to come forward at this time to receive your Medal of Excellence.
Let me hurt you with it. Don't let me hit you in the head. Get over that pole with it. I'm gonna that pole tomorrow. There we go. With the eye off, okay.
So, young ladies, it's quite an accomplishment to be honored to attend the Governor's School for the Arts. And I'd like, if you don't mind, just to tell the people in the audience a little bit about your experience there.
Hello, my name is Emily Hayes. I am a senior this year, and I went for vocal music. And this program was 3 weeks of just like some intense training and education in the arts. There were some really high highs and some really low lows, which all ended up turning into the most phenomenal experience. It really just gave us a lot of hope, I think, for like the future and the arts in Kentucky. Like, it's phenomenal, and really made me realize like the importance of the arts. So.
Hi, my name is Abigail Cartwright. I'm currently a senior. I attended for creative writing, and the best way I could describe GSA was it was the greatest experience of my life so far. It is the most that I have ever learned about writing, and as someone who wants to be a writer, it was truly one of the most wonderful experiences. I met some of the most amazing writers from Kentucky who are just such inspirations. I've made some of the greatest friends for life. I have a writing publishing group now. It truly was just so very wonderful.
Hi, my name is Mabry Rice. I attended GSA for musical theater. I'm a senior this year. And anytime that I get asked about GSA, I almost don't even know what to say. There were so many incredible people there, so many educators from all over the country. For musical theater, we got to work with artists who had been on Broadway themselves, who had been composers and directors and absolutely everything. It was just incredible. We did some stuff that I never expected to do for 3 weeks straight. Lots of dancing, lots of singing that I was not prepared for, but it was absolutely incredible. Getting to work with people from all over the state who came from, different opportunities, different backgrounds. Getting to work with people from everywhere, no matter who they were, was a different experience than I'd ever gotten. And I would for sure say that, kind of like they both said, it really showed the power that the arts can have, especially here in Kentucky. That's something that's kind of hard to realize, but going to GSA really showed the importance of the arts right here in our own community.
Quite an accomplishment. On behalf of everyone at Henderson County Schools, thank you for pursuing excellence in all you do and pursuing excellence in the arts. And I think we have some parents here. The parents of these students would stand. Please give them a hand.
We'd like to recognize our Governor's Scholars Program as well. This is a summer residential program for outstanding high school students who are rising seniors. The program's mission is to enhance Kentucky's next generation of civic and economic leaders. In order to participate, students have to be nominated by their high school and then compete on a statewide level. Selection is highly competitive with an application process similar to that of colleges and universities. Congratulations to Kendall Hargrove, Janet Mashindi, Madeline McCormick, Hayden Tishner, Josiah Cox, Zane Wolf for being selected and attending. Congratulations to Mabry Rice, who was also selected but chose to attend Governor's School for the Arts. If you want to come forward at this time to receive your medal.
Okay, don't let me put you out. Thank you. Make sure I get this right. Be just there. There we go. Thank you. Oh, that's all right. I've been clumsy all my life. I worked through it. Thank you, sir. Whoops, pardon me. Let's see here. There we go. Thank you. There we go. Be careful, don't hit your glasses off. Thank you.
Okay, you guys want to step over this way for a picture? I know.
It is. So it's, again, quite an accomplishment to be selected for the Governor's Scholar Program, and I'd like to, if you would, just tell the crowd a little bit about your experience there.
Hi, I'm Janet Mashindi. I'm a senior at Henderson County High School. Often people are like, what is GSP or what was it like? And truthfully, it's one of those things where you have to be there to understand what it is, to experience it. There's only so much I can say, but it was by far the best experience I've had in my life. And if anyone has any kids that are sophomores or even younger than that, I would highly recommend the program.
My name is Madeline McCormick, and I'm also a senior at the high school. Whenever I think about the Governor's Scholar Program, I just think of like the biggest, best learning experience of my life. I was in the math field, and I learned so much about math, and I learned literally how to knit, crochet, embroider, and sew. That's something I never thought I'd be able to do, all because of the Governor's Scholar Program. It was such an eye-opener culturally, getting to see all the different people from all over the state and their backgrounds and what they like practice religiously. It was just such an amazing experience. And best 5 weeks of my life. 5 weeks away from home, really hard, but it was so amazing, and I would do it again.
My name is Zane Wolf. I'm also a senior. GSP is just like such a genuinely life-changing experience, and I've made some like genuine lifelong friends from this program. Like Maddie said, I was a forensic science student, and my general studies class was learning how to cook from like cookbooks. It was really awesome. Loved my teacher from there, Michelle. She's a real one, and that's awesome.
I'm Josiah. And I'd say my favorite part about the experience was being in an environment of people who wanted to learn and people who were always curious. Like every moment there, I could have a conversation with anyone about anything that they were interested in. I made some great friends who were talking about things I had no idea, some science kids and so on. And I remember, every day we would go to lunch, and me and my friends who were in my philosophy class would talk about, I don't know, like divine command ethics or Kant's categorical imperative or things like that just over a meal. And then the next moment we'd go to talking about playing spike ball or something stupid. And it was great. And I've just never been in that sort of environment where people are so passionate about learning.
My name is Hayden Tishner. I'm a senior at Henderson County. And going into GSP, I really had no idea what to expect. I got there just prepared to be there for 5 weeks, didn't know anything about it, and then I spent half of it knee-deep in a creek doing a bunch of field work and things like that, things that I would never have the opportunity to do, that much hands-on work for anybody else my age. And just going there and them treating you like you're a lot older than you are, getting to do all that work. And it wasn't so much about the academic learning experience, which I learned a lot in that field, but it was just about meeting so many other people, being there with the community of people, and we had so many public speakers that would talk to us about their life experiences, and it was just a great learning experience in that way.
Thank you for describing that experience. Again, it's a great honor, and Mabry was also selected for this and chose to go to Governor's School for the Arts. And Hayden actually, I think just prior to going to GSP, actually attended a leadership academy at West Point. Was it just prior or just after?
It was a couple of weeks before. I had about 2 weeks in between.
Okay, 2 weeks between her West Point experience and her GSP experience. Thank you all for representing the brand of Henderson County Schools, for setting the example of pursuing excellence. And I think we have some parents and family here of yours, and I'd like to ask them to stand. Let's give these folks a hand, please. Great job. Thank you very much.
Our community partner spotlight this month is the SOFA School of Fine Arts Foundation. The SOFA Foundation exists to energize, educate, and create funding for arts education and career development opportunities in the arts. It is organized to support the arts within Henderson County High School of Fine Arts, SOFA, and also the Henderson County Schools as a whole. Recently, the SOFA Foundation raised funds to purchase new choir chairs for the HCHS choir room. If you would come forward at this time, members of the SOFA Foundation, we would like to recognize you as our spotlight this month.
thank you. If you all want to stay for just a second, Ms. Eves. We're very proud of you and your program and very proud to be partners with SOFA. This year we know we have 3 focuses, which are relationships, partnership, and leadership, and that requires a 2-way connection. And when we partner that way, it brings the mission of providing extraordinary educational opportunities to our students. And I'd like to ask y'all for just a second, maybe describe your program and how you support Henderson County Schools.
I'm Leanne Banna. I'm the president of SOFA Foundation. We were founded about 5 years ago. Of course, COVID didn't do any of us any favors for a couple of those years, but we're picking up steam, and our primary goal is to raise funds to support the arts programs in the school system, particularly SOFA and the Fine Arts program at the high school, and then we hope to eventually move down and help into the elementary schools and their growth as well. So we were excited to meet the challenge of chairs that haven't been changed since the 1970s, is that right? Yeah, so we got them new chairs, and they were special chairs, and we were excited that they now have that in their classroom to properly sing at this point. So, and we have some new goals that we're going to be announcing soon, so we look forward to sharing that with the public in the coming weeks.
I'm Susie Thurman. I'm a member of the board of SOFA. Another project that we have recently funded is how did Heather use the grant money that she got?
For the art supplies?
Yes, yeah, I'm sorry, Katie, yes, for the art supplies. There was a grant that we received. So we are polling all of the teachers to see what their needs are, and we look forward to trying to help them.
I just want to say thank you. When all my students walked in this year, they were like, we have new chairs. And so they were all really excited. It's just stuff like that I could spend money on, but that money could also go toward my students and their actual experiences. So it was a really great thing. And it brightens up our room, and it makes our room feel more like a choir room. And so just thank you. And all my students would say the same thing. They're very thankful. So thank you so much.
And lastly, as you saw our students say, life-changing experiences. And we want to say thank you to our Board of Education for always making that happen. I know these students and these parents are very thankful for you all and the way you provide us resources and support these students. Please give our board a hand.
That would conclude our student and staff recognition. So those of you that have been recognized and want to leave, you can. If you want to stay, you can stay. The next item on our agenda would be public participation. At this time, we would entertain anybody that wants to address this board with regards to any matter that is not on the agenda, and we would afford you about 3 minutes worth of time to address this board. And right now we have several that have turned in forms. If you're wanting to address the board and haven't turned a form in, there should be some on the table. You can still fill it out and bring it up here, and we'll again afford you 3 minutes of time to address the board. So right now we have about 6 or 7. So I'll start with the order that we got them. The first is Desiree Smith, and if you would come to the podium, state your name and the subject matter that you would address, we would appreciate it. And there is a timer from the time that you begin addressing this board. Thank you. So you have 3 minutes.
Okay. My name is Desiree Smith. I am coming today to talk about a school or student safety line. I was reading up on the strategic plan of 2022 that talked about some of the goals and strategies for the 5-year plan for Henderson County Schools. Of course, those are outlined at the very top. It's just kind of a nice little reminder of what we are working towards. So I looked through the current assault and threats of violence policy, and it seems like it primarily focuses on what teachers and staff can do when students are in front of them or in the schools. Now, in terms of the notification process, it also explains that the superintendent or designee, upon confirmation of a serious threat, attempts to notify staff members and students who have been threatened and parents of the students who are subject to that threat. So it was recently, whenever I was home with my son, he's a student at South, and when he told me of a student that was reported to have made some threats or a list of students that he wanted to threaten or intended to harm, that it was on Snapchat and that all the kids at school were talking about it. And, it was kind of one of those things where, okay, well, were they all talking about it and who were they in front of? So we've likely all witnessed the bystander effect, which is basically where everybody else sees all these other observers and they don't actually do anything because they think that things are already being done. And so as a parent, while I trust all of our staff, and I know that they all do such good training and excellence towards making sure that students are safe, I just couldn't get this little bystander effect out of my head. So my son explained that the teachers were aware of the threats, and it is my assumption that if a teacher is aware of that threat, then they would have initiated the reporting sequence to the principal and possibly law enforcement. But my assumption is not enough to risk sending my student into a potentially dangerous environment. So I became aware of the situation on a weeknight at around 10 p.m. My son wasn't able to tell me with any confidence whether the school was aware of the threat and whether the authorities were involved and whether the student would be allowed on campus the following morning. I became resolved to keep my student at home, basically just for fear of the classic bystander effect. Though it was late, I called a friend who serves on the SBDM to see if she was aware of a school contact that I could speak with to make sure that all the necessary people were aware of the threats, and if so, that my student would be safe at school the following day. Luckily, from her service with SBDM, she had Mrs. Fish's email address at her fingertips and was able to send an email with the information that we did have. We received a response within minutes, thank goodness, and I was able to send my son to school the next day. But I could not get it out of my head that I would have kept him home, and I imagine that's what most parents would have done. My friend and I discussed whether there was a reporting system in place for a system of inquiries for members of school staff where they could be reached for a serious threat or to verify that a threat has been addressed. This instance gave me cause for my presence today. So it'd be my suggestion, and I'll just wrap up with saying this, that each school provide and heavily inform parents and caretakers of students of an after-hours number to report or verify receipt of reports or threats against student well-being. It would be my vision that the program's success, students would also feel comfortable submitting threats to the on-staff person at each school. Students may feel more encouraged to report their safety issues within the comfort.
Thank you.
What was that?
Please wrap this up, please.
Okay, that's basically just the gist of it, is having a system that would actually be communicative with parents to ensure that their students are safe, that these issues are being addressed with the school, that each staff or each school have their own staff member that would actually resolve and take care of that transparency and that communication to verify that a threat has been reported and resolved. Obviously, confidentiality would have to be adhered to with this agreement and with this type of program, but that would be the instance where, so the parents don't keep their children home.
Okay.
If there's an issue.
We'll take your comments under advisement, and we'll get back with you.
Thank you.
Next person that is asked to address the board would be Ms. Kristen Proctor. And if you would come to the podium, state your name and the subject matter, we'd appreciate it. And again, we'll give you 3 minutes to address the board, and please stick with the timing. Thank you.
Dr. Lawson, board, thank you. My name is Kristen Proctor. I am a 32-year resident of Henderson County, 4 adult children that have been through the school system, and currently 5 of 6 children, currently students. I've had some changes in life that led me to become an employee of the school system. I am a teacher's aide at Central Academy. I have since then joined the ranks of being a foster parent. when I arrived at the Ready Fest for getting ready for school, my foster daughter and I discovered the Cat Center. Aaliyah is a part of the Cat Center, and she's also a student at South. So I know many of you have heard the issues with transportation. I now have to leave school to get her, to take her to the program, and then go back and get her. The program has been phenomenal for me as a single foster parent. It offers amazing things like after-school snacks, homework help, a state-of-the-art computer center, and other things that I wouldn't be able to provide otherwise. And my plead to you is to find a way to get our kids there safely from South to the Cat Center that is housed at the Housing Authority.
Thank you very much. We appreciate your comments and suggestions, and assured Dr. Lawson will get with you.
Thank you.
Next person would be Brianna Carter. Again, if you would come to the podium, state your name and the subject matter that you would like to address, and we would afford you 3 minutes.
Hello, my name is Brianna Carter, and I'm here to discuss transportation. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. The mission of Henderson County School is to provide extraordinary educational opportunities to every student. To every student. My children, Quincy, 13, he goes to South Middle School, and this is my daughter, Matalea, she's 7, and she goes to Jefferson Elementary. They are missing out on the extraordinary educational opportunities along with over 30 other students due to this transportation issue. The CATS program provides all the necessary tools to allow students help with homework and so much more. Tools that unfortunately I cannot provide at home. We are a low-income family, and I am a sole provider for my youngest child. This program is more than educational. It allows me to work longer hours to provide for my family. It is a safe space for our children to go in the afternoon after school. With that being said, I cannot with a clear conscience allow her to walk a mile without adult supervision. Anything could happen to my 7-year-old daughter. I can't with a clear conscience allow that to happen. Transportation has been going to the CAT Center for over 15 years. Director Donna Rigsby was given a short notice of 6 days prior to when school began to let parents be made aware of the changes that were made. This placed a hardship on every single one of these parents who work in the afternoon hours, and also the children and the students who look forward to the help given by the CAT Center staff, and possibly even the meals that they provide there as well. The mission statement, simply put, does not include every student. It excludes those from Henderson, from the South Middle School and Jefferson Elementary School. Please fix this for our children, for the Henderson County students, and include them in your mission statement. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments. The next person would be Karen Bushrod. Again, if you'd come to the podium, state your name and the subject matter, we'd appreciate it.
Hello, my name is Karen Bushrod, and I am too here for the transportation issue that we have in life situations. I have also been in a situation where my kids are grown, but life situation happened, and I'm raising 4 grandchildren. Here they all 3 are right here. One is 2 at home. He's not in the program yet. I have been able to work. I'm not retired. I still work. I work in Evansville, and the CAT Center, I've been able to depend on them to help me. But now I can't let them walk home. You talk about bad weather, rain, snow, sleet. I mean, they've always, provided transportation, and now I don't have that. I cannot come back to Henderson to pick them up. I can't do that. So they have been walking, but as the weather changes, they're not going to be able to do that. So I'm just asking also, because the program, they also, with me working, it helps them with their homework, and they have all kinds of different ways to help them, even in building leadership. They help them to where my oldest one here has even been able to help in the program with the younger kids coming up. So it just sets a good example, and it's their education. They can get help with their education, and I really need the transportation because what they told me was because the school used to be on the right side of the street of Green. When I called the bus transportation, they said because the school had moved on the left side, they couldn't provide transportation because it was less than a mile. Well, south, we've always been less than a mile. They don't take them. I have to take them. I have to be at work at 7:30, and I have to just drop them off. Luckily, they open at 7, and I can head on. But coming back, there's just no way that I can do that. And for them, I don't want to be worried about their safety. It's not that far, but these days and times, you just can't, you don't know what's going to happen. It's just not safe anywhere. And I don't want to be at work and have to worry about, did they make it home? Because that's the first thing they do is call to let me know that they've made it. But of course, the 3rd grader, he can't walk home. He can't walk home. So I'm just asking too to continue the transportation. It's a wonderful program. It's been beneficial for my family that I've had to, under these circumstances, raise kids and back in the school system again. So thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments. Next person that would address the board would be Sheila Rapier. You've come to the podium, state your name and the subject matter. We appreciate it. And we'd afford you 3 minutes of this meeting.
Good evening. My name is Sheila Rapier, and I'm here to talk about the bus transportation issue. I have 2 grandchildren. One attends South Middle School, and the other attends Jefferson. And we too are in the same situation where there's no transportation to get these children back and forth to the CAT Center. The CAT Center has definitely been a godsend for us because their mother works in Evansville, and she's a single mother trying to take care of her children, so she is unable to drive back to Henderson to pick her children up to transport them to the CAT Center. The CAT Center has helped them tremendously because when they get out of school, they go to the CAT Center and they do their homework, which takes a big load off of their mother when she gets off from work. She doesn't have time to spend the extra time. Sometimes she has to work over, so she doesn't have the time to come over and get them from school to transport them to the CAT Center. So I wish you all would please take in consideration and please rethink this thing about the transportation, and please make a way for these kids to continue to go to the CAT Center so they can continue their education. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much for addressing the board and your comments. Next person would be Rachel Nash. If you come to the podium, state your name and your subject, we'd appreciate it. We'd afford you 3 minutes to address this board. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Rachel Nash, and I am also here about the transportation to the CAT Center. I am a working mother of 6 children. 4 of them are school-aged children. 2 of them attend South Middle School, and they do not have transportation currently to the CAT Center. The CAT Center is an enriching learning environment. It helps with homework, it provides after-school meals, it provides programs that are engaging that keep my children completely brain development instead of trying to disappear into a screen. They have gone here since first grade. I have a 12, 11, 10, 7, and 2 toddlers at home. Trying to get 6 children to all of the different places that they go, I know that you can empathize with how chaotic that can be. The transportation after school to get them to this program is something that is a godsend to me. It takes one thing off my plate, and it gives me peace of mind as a mother to know that my kids are in a safe and supervised environment. It takes a little weight off my shoulders getting homework help so that the time I get with my children, I actually get to spend building the relationship and moral values in them. This is affecting families that are part of the low-income housing community. Jefferson and South Middle School don't have transportation, and there is a lot in that community that are provided for by the Housing Authority. The less than a mile that is stated that can be walking distance, it's also less than a mile from Ben Gate to the Boys and Girls Club, yet a bus provides transportation to them. I am really, with all of these others, desperately asking you to please consider providing that transportation back. It's taking away from the people who need it the most. The people who are trying to be responsible parents, who are providing a safe space, who are providing care that they are doing alone, and they need that help. And not having the transportation from the school that has been there the entire time denies us the things that we have needed for so long. So please reconsider and get busing back. Thank you.
Thank you very much for addressing this board and your comments. Next person would be Mr. David Curlin. Approach the podium, state your name and subject. We'll afford you 3 minutes.
Good evening, everyone. My name is David Curlin. I'm here to, I feel really bad because I feel like their issues are much more important than mine. I would agree that if any kind of busing could be had, then something should happen to help the kids get to those programs. I would think that it would be important for enriching everyone's lives if they can participate in those programs. But my issue is, like I said, is very minor to the previous participants and previous speakers. I'm just asking, my child goes to Spotsville Elementary School, and in the mornings the parking is, or not the parking, but the egress and ingress in and out of the school is very congested. And the parking lots are actually pretty large at the school, and they aren't used or utilized during the times for at least drop-off. And so I'm asking for some sort of review so that maybe the egress and ingress in and out of the school can be improved. I know it's a 30-minute window. It pretty much doesn't matter whether or not you get there at 7:05 or 7:25. It seems like you'll just be there for the same amount of time no matter what. I don't know what to suggest or advise, but I would just ask for it to be reviewed. And thank you for your time today.
Thank you very much. We'll take your comments under advised. And that's all that we have to address the board for subject matter not on the agenda. We appreciate the time that you've taken to come address the board. And the next item on the agenda would be to approve the minutes from our August 15th regularly scheduled meeting. So I'd entertain a motion that we approve the minutes as presented.
So
I have a
moved.
motion from Mr. Alvis. Second from Ms. Williams. All those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
I vote unanimous, so we'll approve the minutes as have been presented. Next item would be reports, and the new Jefferson Elementary School is the report we're going to hear from Mr. Codell. Thank you, sir.
All right, so now that the building's been in use, we're trying to get the contractors out there to address any items as they pop up. I know there's been some hardware issues, some doors sticking, that type of thing. So anytime we're made aware of those, we try to get them out there and get those resolved as quickly as possible. There are a few lingering punch list items, in particular a lot of electrical things, lighting controls specifically. So we're in the process of trying to schedule a meeting on site after school one day when we can get the contractor out there and work through those specific items. Hopefully, I'll be presenting final billings next month for the majority of the contractors, if not all. I do know that the remedial work on that retention basin out back is started today. We got a day early, then good. They're planning on finishing by the end of this week, so 2-3 days should wrap that up. Really just trying to push them through, get their punch list work finished, and get out the door once and for all. I know we'll be glad to close that one out and move on to the next project. Unless you have any specific questions, that's pretty much the extent.
Dr. Lawson, any comments? Anybody have any questions of Mr. Codell with regards to the Jefferson Elementary School at this time? No questions?
All right.
So we've got some other items.
Yes, sir.
That would have to do with change orders.
Do have several change orders, but I would like to point out that only 3 are any actual expense to the district. There are, I believe, 6 that are just moving dollars from one contract to another for settle some claims or reimbursement for work performed for another contractor. There's an additional 6 that are moving unused purchase order dollars back into the contingency. So that's actually an overall credit of $3,790.51. And I do plan to present another pretty substantial one next month once the dust settles on it. Like I said, there are 3 that are additional scope. The first one is 3-5 to Hart's Contracting, $27,510.51. That's to provide and install a new vinyl-clad chain link fence around the middle school football field. Original plan called to reinstall the old fence that was removed during construction. It is in pretty bad shape. It's rusted out in quite a few sections, so this is to provide a brand new chain link fence. 18-4 to Premier Electric, $22,787.24. This is to provide and install several additional light fixtures and exit signs at all the entries to the building. The state building inspector, their final walkthrough, this is basically up to their opinion of the site. He requested additional light fixtures be installed at pretty much every entrance to the building. And then lastly, 19-3 to State Electric, $6,616.48. This is a change to provide digital clocks in the classrooms. The analog clocks in the corridors. Analog clocks are staying in the classrooms for teaching purposes, but in the corridors, it's an upgrade to provide digital. So those are the only 3 that actually have any impact on the project cost.
Okay, at this time, then I would entertain a motion that we approve change orders as listed on the agenda. Items 1, which is for the new fencing. Item 6, for additional lighting that has been deemed necessary by the state and local inspectors, and for digital clocks in the hallways. So entertain a motion that we accept those change orders as presented.
So moved.
Have a motion, Mr. Alvis. That would be item under agendas 1, 6, and 8. Any questions? For a second? Second, Mr. Smith. Any questions or comments with regards to these 3 items? Hearing none, I'd entertain, then all those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye. Votes unanimous that we would accept the effects of item 1, 6, and 8. For items 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 9, and 10, that's just moving some stuff around. There's no cost to the board, and we just need to approve the fact that that needs to be done. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
So then I would entertain a motion that on our agenda, items 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, and 10 be approved as presented.
So moved.
Have a motion, Mr. Alvis. Second? Second from Mr. Smith. All those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye, vote unanimous. Thank you so very much. Next item on the agenda would be capital projects. Mr. Thompson, you're addressing this?
Yes, sir. This evening before you are two capital projects. The first one is we would ask for the consideration of the board to reject the bids from the bids taken on August 18th, 2022 for the softball hitting building. And in that same piece, we would like the opportunity to rebid for our softball hitting building with proposals received at 3 p.m. On the 6th, and then with the pre-bid on September 27th. The second piece is for the North Middle School softball bleacher replacement. We would ask for your consideration to approve the addendum for the pre-bid to take place, or first, I'm sorry, to change the proposal for bids from August 18th to October 6th and change the pre-bid conference from August 10th to September 27th. So at this time, you have two items before you. One for softball hitting building, asking you to reject the bid and set a new pre-bid and bid date. And then the other is to for the North Middle School bleacher replacement to offset the pre-bid and bid date.
Could you kind of expound a bit on the rejecting of the bids? Did they come in too higher than what we anticipated?
Yes, sir.
Expected?
I'd be happy to. We put out for bid the softball hitting building. We had one contractor bid, and it came in at $167,000.
That's a nice building, Mr. Ransom. You're getting over there, buddy.
I'm telling you. And it's, so we didn't feel like it was in the best interest of Henderson County Schools, our taxpayers, and also softball community is helping fund that. And it came in, I'm gonna guess, probably $60,000 to $70,000 to $80,000 over bid. So one of the things that we could do is we could rebid it and look at parceling pieces out to get it down to where it considerably might be affordable for us and for the softball team. So that's why we're asking for your consideration tonight to rebid.
Understand, thank you. Any questions with regards to either one of these projects? Mr. Thompson, Dr. Lawson?
No, sir, I'd request the board approve the rebid for the softball facility, then change the bid for North Middle School football stadium as requested by Mr. Thompson.
Thank you, sir. You've heard the superintendent's recommendation. Entertain a motion to accept the recommendation as presented.
So moved.
Have a motion, Mr. Alvis.
Second.
Second, Ms. Williams. All those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye, thank you very much. Vote unanimous. Next item would be the consent agenda. We have 7 items on the consent agenda. Certification form for emergency teaching certificates, some shortened days for 10 special education students, some overnight trip requests for future business leaders and the dance team, some activity fundraiser requests for various fundraisers at the high school, Chandler and Niagara, salary schedule amendment requests for some various changes, some transportation requests for the Audubon Kids Zone, Halloween extravaganza, and then grant applications for South Central and Henderson County High School. At this time, I would entertain a motion that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
So moved.
Have a motion, Mr. Alvis.
Second.
Second, Ms. Williams. All those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye, vote unanimous. Approve the consent agenda as presented. Next item would be under financial. First item would be to establish the 2022-2023 tax rate for a property and motor vehicle.
Yes, sir, and I'll be handling that.
Thank you.
As we have been in our meeting tonight, we've heard our students talk about the extraordinary opportunities and accomplishments that they've been afforded by Henderson County Schools. And we've also heard the need for more services from Henderson County Schools. In our current state, there really isn't much that comes off the plate of the public school system. And I want to say that we're so grateful to our Board of Education for supporting our schools the way that you have and you continue to do. We know that our kids are the center of all of your decisions, and our staff is a close second to them, and we appreciate all you continue to do to make the mission of Henderson County Schools come to life for both the students, the staff, and in turn the community. Also, it puts us in a tough situation because for each one of those, as you know, there's a cost. And no costs are going down right now, whether that be materials or we know there's a labor shortage. That, in fact, that is where most of the problems start in terms of the transportation. That we want to continue to be able to offer those services, and at the end of that, there comes a cost. And thus far, we've been able to do that through the support of this board and through the support of our community, and we want to continue to do that. Also, through this, I've been able to have a conversation with each of you, and I want to thank you for that. I want to thank you for your service as a board member. It's probably the toughest job in any community is to be a school board member. And the way that you serve these kids, many of you all have done this for a number of years, and we've been able to realize a lot of dreams in Henderson County because of your service, namely our veteran members. And we're going to continue to do that. And I want to thank particularly our board chair and our vice chair for your leadership during the past few weeks and coaching me on living in partnership with this community, because we want to make sure our kids have all these opportunities, and we want to make sure that we fulfill our fiduciary commitments too. And it's a delicate balance. But for this year, because of our conversations, namely with our board chair and our vice chair, I'd like to recommend that we keep our current tax rate and do not take the 4% this year. We cannot continue to do that. Our children will be the ones that lose services if we continue to do that. And this year, I've asked Ms. Cloutier, and we can use some of the funds that we have saved and maintain during this time of inflation and some hard times for some families. I believe we can keep that tax rate this year at the current rate of 66.7. And I would also like to recommend that we keep our current tax rate for auto motor vehicles rate at 54.8.
I'd like to commend you for that. That's a tough decision.
Okay, so that would be your recommendation with regards to the tax rates for the 2022, 2023?
Yes, sir. I'd recommend we keep the current rate of 66.7 for our property tax rate and our rate of 54.8 for motor vehicles this school year.
Okay, before we have any comments, I'd like to entertain a motion that we accept the superintendent's recommendation as presented. Have a motion, Mr. Alvis, and a second. Second, Ms. Williams. At this time, anybody wants to address the comments or make comments with regards to that, feel free to step right up.
I have done a lot of research, a lot of reading, and I have talked with Dr. Lawson, and I looked over the financial reports. There are costs that are going up and costs that are going down, and I can imagine that it's a very tough decision for you to come to, and I commend you for that. I think we're in an extraordinary time, and unfortunately, it's often said that high inflation is a tax on the poor, and there are always conflicting and demands on limited resources. So I appreciate that consideration of the community that we serve.
Thank you, Mr. Alvis. Appreciate your comments. I'm sure Dr. Lawson does too. Anybody?
So I I recommend, I.
We have a motion.
Make the
and it's on
motion,
second.
yes.
We're
yes,
gonna
sir.
get to the vote in a minute, because I'm gonna make a few comments myself. Because in a few minutes, we're gonna look at a, working budget for the 2022-2023 school year. $122,500,000. 85% of it is related to salaries and benefits. I went to a PEP assembly, I think several of us did last Friday, for a national blue ribbon awarded school in this community. We recognized several examples of excellence tonight. And of that $122 million budget, 85% of it is related to salaries and benefits. The salaries and benefits go to one place, and that's the biggest asset in any school district, and that's this team of people that are affording their time to address the needs of these kids, all right? And just to give you an idea of the commitment, when a youngster comes out of college that wants to be a teacher, they spend, 3 months, 4 months student teaching, and they're paid zero. Zero. They do it on their own, all right? And when they graduate from college and begin to be a teacher, they're paid about 33% less than a graduate at the same time that would go into another profession. They do it because they love the kids. And then when you begin looking at, as Mr. Alvis, you indicated, inflation, if you look at inflation dollars and what we're paying teachers right now for the past 25 years, and inflation considered, we're paying our teachers $29 more a year than we did 25 years ago. Dr. Lawson, we looked into our long-term strategic plan, and we made a comment, we want to be the highest paid paying school district in the state of Kentucky. I do too. We can only do that with resources, and resources that the teachers need begin with, we got to pay them for what they're doing, all right? And I'm not being critical of anybody or anything. I just want folks to recognize, and I'm on a bandwagon now, because teachers and the folks who work in our school district are heroes for what they do and the commitment for what they do. And that's raising the foundation of the next generation of kids that are going to be sitting in these same seats 10, 15 years from now, all right? We can't do it without money. And the money that's 85% related to our budget goes to the greatest asset that we can deal with. And I don't disagree with you, times are tough right now. I've been an advocate of the 4% because in 1979, the Kentucky State Legislature put in House Bill 44 that said you could increase your monies 4% year to year because they didn't want to do it. They didn't want to take the heat for doing it. I don't mind taking the heat for doing it. And I will say I'm an advocate every year for the 4%. And you and I have talked about this, times are tough. And I think you've made a recommendation to this board that is considering our community and the times that we're in. And we can't do this every year. We can't take a compensating rate. We can't take a same rate because the most important people in this school district, minus the kids, are the folks that are teaching the kids. And we've got to be able to pay them something that's competitive, or we're not going to attract them and we're going to lose them. And when you think 25 years ago to today, the teacher's making $29 more a year. That's shameful. So at this point in time, we have a motion and a second. Do you want to make a comment now, Kurt? Thank you. I'm going to get off my soapbox now.
Henderson County Schools going and for doing your
Well said, Kirk, thank you. Anybody else?
Yes.
Go ahead.
I know it was probably one of the top toughest decisions that you made tonight, and I want to thank you because I know it was hard. And our community has no idea how tough it is to sit here and raise the taxes that we, because we know it's something that we have to do. Years ago, when I taught school, and I would hear the tax is going to be raised, and I'm like, good grief, do we have to do that again this year? But one thing that you and I have talked about is that the explanation of why and how it directly affects us needs to be out there, and we've talked about this. I'd love to hear Cindy and Dr. Lawson on Speak Up at WSON and explain to our community how this really directly affects us. And what it is, and a person told me a long time ago, you're leaving money on the table, and you should never do that. You should never leave money that the state is giving you if you raise that 4%. So with that being said, I just ask you that as we get into and towards next year, because like Mike said, we can't do this every year. We can't stay solvent. Is that the right word, Cindy? Solvent? Is solvent the word I need? Where you can't, we can't do it. Whatever the word is, we can't do this because we have to have the money. And we, again, want the best teachers out there, and we have to pay them in order to get the best teachers. So to the community, Dr. Lawson made a huge decision, and the board went with that and voted that we not raise taxes this year. And I just personally want to give him the credit because it was hard. So thank you.
Okay, anybody else? We have a motion and a second. So at this time, all those in favor of the recommendation from the superintendent signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye, vote unanimous. We accept the recommendation from the superintendent. Thank you. Next item would be the 2022-2023 working budget.
I think you already did a great presentation, so I probably don't even need to do it.
You have to be kidding me.
So you have in your packet the working budget for the 22-23 school year that is required to be approved by the board and submitted to KDE by September 30th of each year. It includes all the same assumptions that you saw in May on the tentative budget that you approved, with the addition of the Hanover study salary adjustments and the additional general wage increase. Additional items to note and keep in mind for future budgets, some of the things that you already mentioned, along with the legislatures did give us a SEEK base increase, a 2.5% increase. But with the average inflation rate that we had over the last 12 months, the purchasing power is 90% of what it was last year. So the 4,100 falls far short of keeping pace with that inflation. Within SEEK, there's a partial reimbursement for transportation. They did increase that amount this year, so we're now funded at 68.8% instead of 53.9%. Imagine what we could do if we were funded at 100%. Interest revenue remains at a low level. Interest revenue has decreased $400,000 from 2021 to 21-22, which is a 65% decrease. The county employees retirement system rate is 26.79% in this budget. That rate was 13.5% just in 2008-09. That total was $2.2 million in FY22 and is budgeted at $2.5 million in this working budget. They passed a law several years ago that the state was allowed to increase that rate up to 12% each year. So each biennial budget, they'll review that to see how much of that 12% they want to increase it. The expense for a Kentucky teacher retirement system employer match was a new cost to the district in 10-11. and that cost to the general fund was $80,000 at that time. That rate has gone from 0.25% to 3%. So the cost in 21-22 was $876,000. So that's nearly $1 million that we'll see in our budget every year that did not exist in our budget in 2009-10. So that's things like that that we need to keep in mind for future budgets. On behalfs are budgeted at $18,500,000 on both the revenue and expense side. So just making you aware that those funds are not available for our use. It's just required to be in the working budget for the amounts that the state paid on our behalf for matching insurance and different kind of benefits like that. The cost of early childhood continues to grow. The general fund support has grown from $440,000 in FY19 to $900,000 in 21-22. This is local support only, since the general fund receives no state revenue for early childhood enrollment or attendance. So that's more money coming out of our budget. Increased support for exceptional child education continues to be a major concern. Support for that area from the general fund exceeded the amount funded through SEEK, through federal grants and Medicaid payments by $800,000 last year, and is expected to be about the same amount this year, and is budgeted in the working budget. All residual funds at year end were placed in the contingency and into salary codes to cover the additional cost of our wage increase and our Hanover study expenses. Our contingency is budgeted at 9.3 of all operational funds and is well above the 2% minimum. As Mr. Waller stated, 85% of our budget is salary and benefits, so 85% plus the 9.3. You know, we're working on an operational budget of 7% each year for all other costs. Overall, our revenues will remain close to the same percentage as they typically do. Expenses will stay relatively close in most areas, but we've had notable increases in areas of property, liability, and fleet insurance, which has increased 26% over last year. Diesel fuel, 22% over the last couple of years, and our sanitation costs have increased 83% over the last couple of years. Our debt service will require $3.6 million in principal and interest payments, and will leave us approximately $3 million for cash for facility projects and any capital funds request. Any questions on the working budget?
Any questions, Ms. Cloutier, with regards to the budget that she's presented for 2022, 2023?
I have none.
Any questions?
I have none.
Any questions, Mr. Haynes?
I see you in the audience. I know that you put in long days, and that at your school, teachers like me come up and ask for all kinds of things, and you have to make really tough decisions, and you have to say no. I see you. I appreciate your work. I appreciate you, Ms. Cloutier, explaining things in such detail.
Thank you. I'll leave off my soapbox. I'll stay off my soapbox this year. It's the money that we left on the table.
Anybody else? Well, you all know I got the last word.
Maybe we should let her go first next time.
Probably.
I'm fine with anybody else ever talking.
Median home income is about, median home value in Henderson County is $160,000. That homeowner would have been paying about $12 more this year than they did last year, $12. And 9 of it would have been going to the salaries for our teachers. I'm an advocate of that 4% every year. So, at this point, you've heard the budget. Dr. Lawson?
Yes, sir. I'd like to recommend the board approve the 2022, 2023 working budget as presented by Ms. Cloutier.
Heard the superintendent's recommendation, entertain a motion that we have a motion from Mr. Haynes, have a second Mr. Alvis. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Aye, vote unanimous. Thank you. Next item would be the treasurer's report.
Okay, the treasurer's report for the month of August includes total receipts of $8,646,273, total expenses of $7,570,994, for net decrease in all funds of net increase in all funds of $1,075,280. Any questions on that?
Any questions, Ms. Cloutier? Dr. Lawson?
There's no questions. I'd request the board approve the treasurer's report as presented by Ms. Cloutier.
Heard the superintendent's recommendation, entertain a motion, we accept the recommendation as presented.
So moved.
Have a motion, Mr. Alvis. Second, Mr. Smith. All those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye, vote unanimous. Second. Next item would be paid warrant report.
Okay, the paid warrants cover the period of August 16th through September 19th and include total paid warrants of $4,497,547.92. Any questions on the paid warrants?
I'd like to make the point on that before we vote. One of the big items on the top of that list is the payment of one of our debts. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for the comment. Dr. Lawson?
I'd request the board approve the paid warrant report as presented by Ms. Cloutier.
Heard the superintendent's recommendation, entertain a motion, we accept the recommendation as presented.
So moved.
Have a motion, Mr. Alvis.
Second.
Second, Ms. Williams. All those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye, vote unanimous. Next item would be personnel actions. Robin, if you'll let the record reflect that we've received personnel actions since last month and been reviewed by the entire board, I appreciate it. Last item, or the next to the last item, would be an executive session for KRS 61.8101F.
Mr. Waller, before we move into.
Oh, yes, go ahead.
Dr. Lawson, we heard a public comment about safety. And we do have a safety link that's available 24/7 and a suicide prevention lifeline. Would you please ensure that those images are made larger so that our community feels safe and that we do keep our schools safe 24 hours a day, 7 days a week?
Yes, sir.
I feel safe about it. Appreciate your comment, though. So I'd entertain a motion, we move into executive session
So
per
moved.
KRS 61.8101F for discussions with what lead to all that other stuff. Have a motion, Ms. Williams. Second, Mr. Haynes. All those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye, vote unanimous. Thank you all for coming out. Appreciate you being here and listening to all this craziness that I come up with every now and then.